Hello, 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 hello there. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're a couple minutes late. We actually started purposely a little bit later just because the model that we're going to be having in studio today is running a little bit behind. But still didn't kind of deter anything that we're working on or going to be doing and talking about today. So as normal, we got our day break, the drink of choice for the stream. Shout out to Wolf Ridge. I know, right? All right, so without further ado, man, pretty much tonight we got a few different things we're going to be talking about with you guys. We're going to kick things off because, like I said, we're going to be the main point of this stream is going to be talking about how I do in film and edit. Well, you guys have seen the way I edit my lookbook videos, but now I'm going to go in a little bit more detail on how I get to that point, such as choosing locations, using particular focal lengths, even some of the gear that I actually film on. So that's what we're going to be covering tonight, and then we're going to be closing out with bringing Tom on, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the upcoming films that we're going to be releasing here soon. We're going to talk a little bit about the 48-hour film festival that we had the chance to partake in, and a few other things. So you guys stay tuned through the end of the stream. We probably won't go till 9 o'clock tonight. Um, we have everything set up and flowing smoothly, but I freaking forgot my laptop charger.
And I didn't unplug the screen.
Yeah, so we're off to a good start. Tom didn't unplug nothing yet, and it's live, and we look good on camera, hopefully. So without any further ado, we're gonna get everything rolling. I'm gonna show you guys real quick a 41-second edit that I did for the Success is Certain brand, featuring the model Amber Ford. So Tom, if you want to go ahead and roll that, so they can take a look at that.
Beautiful beam footage.
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
Right now.
Sweet. I wonder if they're playing on the stream. Oh yeah, I can imagine.
You're going from 4K to 1080,
Yeah.
pushing 1080 out to the internet.
Yep. All right, so that was real quick, right? Nothing crazy special, but it was really straight to the point. Um, so I want to talk a couple things. So first off, that actually was filmed out in Delaware. So when we was working with Amber, she was wanting to go out there. She had been out there. She got some people out that went. She's seen some dope stuff, and she's like, "Hey, I want to go out here and do a little bit of filming." And so we got the chance to go out there and really just try to make use of what was there. So that honestly, all that was shot within probably like an hour, hour and a half. Really wasn't a lot of time that went into like the production side of things. Super straightforward shoot, far as for that. So the camera and equipment that I use, I'll run down that really quick. I forgot to bring my gimbal in, but the gimbal, I used the gimbal for pretty much that entire shoot. The gimbal that was used was the DJI Ronin RS2. And you guys excuse me. Oh, it's Tom. I thought it was a model. Yeah.
I made that mistake.
Oh, you good. But yeah, so that was filmed on the DJI Ronin RSC2. So the reason I upgraded to that gimbal, because before I used to use the DJI Ronin RSC, and Tom typically shoots, the Ronin, which is the larger version. So carries a little bit more weight, has a bigger, heavier payload, as far as the max payload, as far as the camera and everything that you can put on it with the lens. Yeah. But the RSC2 is kind of like the small scale or the step down version of that. So it's going to do the same thing, have a lot of the same features, but it just doesn't carry as much weight. So I upgraded to the RSC2 because it has a higher max payload. So Tom and I, we are huge fans of the Tamron Lenses, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. I'm going to be going over focal length and stuff later. But we use the Tamron lenses, and they have a little bit more weight than the Sigma lenses that I was using before. So I had to upgrade the gimbal in order to be able to get some of those smooth, steady, clean shots that I like to get on a gimbal. And so I chose to go with the RC2. It's a great, great gimbal. has, I think, a max payload of like probably like around 7, 8 pounds, I think, or something crazy. But it holds and balances the Tamron lenses with the A6400 great. And so that is pretty much how I did that whole shoot. So if you look and you can, I don't know if you guys are able to tell, but if you've seen, it has pictures that I actually sparsed in as well and kind of manipulated to give a little bit more life to the actual finished product. Um, One of the big things, like, I know I talk about a lot, like in my live editing, is just having or matching energy and creating like a story or anything like that. And so for that particular one, because we were limited and it was kind of almost spur of the moment, I wanted to just make sure the energy was there. And so when the energy, when I say energy, I mean like just like the way it was cut. So I had a lot of really fast cuts, and just moves a lot. There's a lot going on within the edit. But the whole point of that is to bring attention to the shirt that she was wearing, which was representing the brand. And so that's the big thing when doing any type of videography is this first thing, knowing what you're filming and, just kind of having an approach, before you actually start to hit that record button. And so that was a big thing with that. Like I had in my mind, even though it was spur of the moment, it wasn't without thought. Like I knew what I wanted to film. I knew how I wanted it to look. And I had an idea of what that finished product should look like, or at least feel like. And so the next thing came down to, like after all the footage was shot, so um, we shot in, like I said, it was really in one location. So it was just this like abandoned parking lot that we found. It had a really like tall kind of gray wall, and then it had some stairs with like an abandoned building. And so we just made use of that. So that kind of brings me to the next point that I did want to touch on, was when you're looking for a location, and this is really not just for like lookbooks or model videography, but really anything, especially for like music videos and things of that nature. You want to choose a location that is going to offer you more than one spot to film in. So if you look at that, the scene kind of opens with her walking out from that kind of brownish wall or whatever. And so I knew, like, okay, I wanted to lead her somewhere, lead her kind of away from that. And so we go from there. Actually, I'm sorry, it was two locations that was filmed in. So you had that, and then we kind of closed it at one other spot where it was just shooting along a wall that had some nice textures and nice colors. And that's toward the end when you see the blue with the windows. And then just right around the corner from there was another little wall where we actually ended the video on with a red brick wall. And so, like I said, so that was total 2 locations, but it looks like 4 to 5 different spots that we were actually filming in. And that's just really, just being cognizant of where that location was and what I wanted it to look like and kind of what I wanted to, bring across. And so, like just doubling back to what I was stating earlier, you just want to make sure that you don't choose a location that's just going to offer you one look, because it's going to stretch out your shoot. Because what's going to happen is if it has just one thing, that kind of grabs you, it looks good, you're going to be good for maybe 1 or 2 scenes, but it's going to get really, really monotonous, if you're trying to do your whole edit based off of that one location. So first thing first, really, you'll want to start is just kind of, having that plan, knowing how much time you're going to spend, actually filming. So you have approximately 4 hours of film time, and you're trying to shoot an elaborate, music video or an elaborate lookbook of some sort. You want to make sure you maximize that location, or you want to make sure that the first location you choose is in close proximity to a couple other locations that have something different or some type of variety to offer. So second thing that I recommend looking for in your location is also just look for things that could be utilized to bring or tell further the story. So like I said, the last thing, the kind of the end of that clip, it showed the kind of blue wall with a lot of the textures and things like that. I knew kind of where I wanted to go. I kind of wanted to draw back in, with her kind of doing some poses in the window, sitting there. And I just really liked the colors and the textures of the wall. And so use that, and then you play with your angles. So that's kind of the first thing. So, you choose a location that has a lot to offer, and then you think about the different ways that you can shoot it. There's more than one way of filming something than there's straight on. Straight on tripod shots are great for what they're great for. You know, if you're doing something like what we're doing now, and I'm just talking to the camera, there's no need for any movement. But when you're doing something that you're trying to draw your viewer in, you need to have some sort of movement in there because that's going to keep the attention, you know, of the viewer and keep them engaged in what they're looking at. I think a lot of times, you know, I see a lot of videos where there's either too much movement, you know, that's unnecessary, or there's too little movement, and it, you know, both can be a distraction. So that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about, you know, a couple things, and now we're gonna kind of roll in the framing a little bit once our model does arrive here in a few. So, and that's gonna kind of give you guys a perspective on what, you know, you're able to do. And so your composition and framing has a lot to do with your focal length and knowing your different focal lengths and knowing, you know, what your kind of ability is, or the lens's ability is. And so that's one of the big reasons that Tom and I have become like huge fans of the Tamron line of lenses, because they're great. So they're zoom lenses. So what we're running these streams on, Tom, you're running on yours on 2875, and that one there on the second cam is also 1770. So it's the APS-C lens that Tamron recently came out, the 17 to 70. And so in a second here, I'm going to grab my camera and I'm going to show you just some of the indicators, and we're going to talk about that lens real quick. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and grab it now.
And while you're doing that, kind of talk about, like, so what are the things you look for as far as textures? Because you talk a lot about, like, how to get a location that doesn't require a lot of movement, so there's too much movement.
Yeah.
Or locations that don't require a lot of movement, and you have a lot of still shots which are boring.
Mm-hmm.
That sweet middle. So, like, what do you look for in those locations as far as, like, texture, color, you know, light, apparently, because obviously the light's the most important thing. Like, what do you look for in those locations that kind of give that sweet middle ground where there's enough movement to make it interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but not too much movement?
Right,
or
right.
like where the model can't really move around a lot because maybe there's abandoned building, there's glass, or there's
Right.
weeds, or there's dangerous things, and it just looks really boring. So, like, what's that sweet spot for you?
No, it's a really good question. So I'm gonna repeat it real quick. Just, I don't know if you guys are able to pick that up or hear. Tom was asking, like, what are some of the other things that I look for, you know, when choosing a location to film, like specifically like with models, you know, aside from just like the textures and things like that. And so he brought up a couple really good things, like a lot of really good things. First being light. That's number one. So I know 90% of the time I'm doing the model lookbooks, I'm not bringing additional light in it. 90% of the time it's outside, it's outdoors, and, you know, we're using natural lighting, we're using what's there. And so with that, you have to make sure that you're getting adequate light on the model. So if you're underexposed or overexposed, forget it. You know, you're not going to be able to recover that, especially with dealing with harsh light. And so while we're on that, I'll show you guys one other thing here too. And look at this. We have our model arriving.
Hey!
What's going on, Mr. Nazer? How you doing, ma'am?
How are you guys?
Good.
I think that was tricky.
So we are live, but you are welcome to go ahead and grab that seat there whenever you get yourself together.
You want a chair? Do whatever makes you feel good. Here. Take my bag. This all you. How you good? You been good?
So guys, our model Nazer just got here, so we're gonna put someone better to look at in this hot seat. You'll hear my voice still kind of talking through what we're going on. You on camera? Front door what?
Yeah. I just like walked right in. Must be summer hours.
Hey,
Sorry, you're on camera. You're
Camera?
you're on mine. You switch.
yeah, if you can, because I'm gonna come up a little closer, give her so she can sit down.
Cut to the wide.
All right, cool. All right, so what was that in the middle? Oh, so lighting is number one. So go ahead and Nazer, you go ahead and feel free to grab your seat there.
What's jacket?
I know I had to put on some show clothes. I was like, I'm not going in there fully dressed for work. Absolutely not.
So cool. Real quick, I'm gonna give our model a quick introduction. So we have Miss Nazer here. So we're gonna be shooting a lookbook Friday. You can go ahead and switch the cam too if you don't mind, bro. And then we'll come back to cam one. Yeah. So, so Mr. Nazer is who we're gonna be doing a lookbook with this upcoming Friday. So we have some ideas. We're gonna talk a little bit about what we're gonna shoot later on in the stream here. Kind of after we go over a few more things. A couple things I want to touch on with you guys. But yeah, so now we got someone better to look at than me, staring at me, looking crazy. And we can switch back to cam 1 here, Tom.
Cam 1?
Yeah. All right, so, and real quick, I'm gonna bump my ISO up. I'm a little dark.
I want to brighten up you a little dark in the corner. You got it? I do it.
Oops. All right. There we go. Look a little bit better now.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I left off with lighting. So one of the big things, like I said, is lighting. So if you are overexposed or underexposed, you're going to ruin your shots. So that's the first thing that I look for is what's going to offer adequate lighting without me having to supplement lighting. And what I mean by supplementing lighting is bringing in lighting of my own, because then you have to deal with power. Majority of the lights that Tom and I utilize, though, we use battery-operated lights, so meaning you can recharge them and they are good to go. But that doesn't always work out that way. So one of the things to help with exposure that we use, that I'm a huge fan of, are these little guys here. So if you guys can see these, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. These are the Peter McKinnon Polar Pro, the Polar Pro Peter McKinnon line of lens filters. And so what these do is pretty neat. It's a variable ND filter, okay? So what I'm gonna do, you guys see kind of how Tanasia looks there. I'm not gonna fully put this filter on, but I'm just gonna cover that with that. So we can see how that brings down some of the light on her and it corrects the exposure some. So huge benefit with this is you can go from 2 stops, I don't know if you guys can see this. But anyways, you can go from 2 stops all the way up to 5 stops of light that you have full control over with these filters here. So this is one of the filters that I use. And the second one I'm going to show you, I'm going to grab my other camera here. And it's probably my personal favorite, and I believe has recently become one of Tom's personal favorites, is this little baby here. It's by Tiffin. It is this here. What's up, bro?
You see yourself? I was going to grab that 60 if you need a light on you, but it looks like you can see yourself.
Oh, yeah, I
I ran out the car for no reason.
Oh, shoot, man, yeah.
Damn, my wife ass.
But yeah, so it's these Tiffin Black Pro Mist filters. Okay, so what these do, these are, all of those stuff I'm telling you guys is it has to do with exposure and lighting. So if you're in an area where you can get good lighting, but maybe it's not the best, what these do, they offer what's called like light halation. So you have little dust particles, you're not gonna be able to see it, but there's really small dust particles in this that's baked into the lens filter. And so what it does, it causes the light to refract before it hits the sensor in your camera. So what that does is it kind of softens the amount of light that's coming in, and it gives this really soft, really pretty blooming effect that has been working great, especially for like model lookbook videos, movies, because it just gives it a really, like, it kind of gives you a whole different feel on it. And there's different, strengths that you can buy. What Tom and I use, though, and I personally a big fan of, is the quarter mist. So when you're out looking for that, the higher the amount or the strength, the more blooming effect that you're gonna have, and the kind of more blurry it's gonna be. So you just need to be mindful of that. If that's the desired effect that you're looking for, great. So step number 1 that I look for is, the location is gonna offer great lighting. It's gonna offer multiple places to film without having to pack up a lot of gear and move all over the place. And then, like Tom mentioned, thirdly is textures. What kind of textures are available there? What can we place the model next to that won't take away from the model, but won't necessarily, would also add to the model as well. So that's something that you really want to consider and think about, in doing these as well. And then it was one other point that what else did you bring up, bro? It was something I was gonna touch on that you had said.
I said light, textures, and just
Movement. Yes. Movement, 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 movement. So when it comes to like doing the like model lookbooks and model videography, your movement is really, really subtle. You don't want a whole lot of movement from your model depending on the look. If it's like a high fashion brand, they tend to have a little bit more voguey movements and stuff like that. So I would shoot something like that in regular speed. As far as my camera settings, I would shoot it in traditional 4K or 1080p, whatever I'm choosing there. And I would allow and look for those kind of like really hard, sharp poses, really strong and abrupt or direct movements. But typically what I shoot and what I produce, I shoot in 60 frames a second. So you get a little bit of slow-mo kind of, I like the dreamy feels, you know what I mean? I like to make the lookbooks look as cinematic as possible, you know what I mean? I like the end product to look kind of almost surreal. And so that's what my goal is pretty much every time that I approach one, is how can I make this seem like we're not filming in this location and this model is, someone that's just really, really unique. Like, how do I portray that visually? And so that's what I look for in those. So let me grab my notes and see where else we're at, see where we at. So, Miss Tanasia, you want to give a little bit about yourself? Like, how long you been modeling?
Sure. I guess, what, a year now?
Okay.
Not that long.
Just a year?
I mean, maybe like a few months over. Not even.
I feel like it's been longer than that.
I shot was a year.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Really?
It had only been a few months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because like my first shoot was with Jay Allen. And that was like maybe like 3 or 4 months before I shot with you.
Okay.
So it's still fresh. Everything's still fresh.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so I haven't been doing it that long.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. So, have you ever done like a model lookbook video or done any kind of model videography before?
No, I haven't ever.
Cool.
Yeah, no. Like me and my friends like take small videos, like short clips of like my outfits and stuff from here, just to post on my story. But
Gotcha.
never anything like this extensive. So.
Gotcha. Well, cool. First time for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where we at? So now I'm gonna go. So now we have Mr. Naja here. So I'm gonna talk about. We still on cam one time?
Yeah.
Okay. No. You good.
I just switched back to it. I was on cam 2 to get her what she
Oh.
was talking
You good. So we're gonna go over focal lengths and stuff now really quick. And so you're gonna see some stuff in the room that we kind of trying to hide. Got time over there in the cut. But right now, we're gonna go wide. So on this APS-C camera here, this is the Tamron 1770. We're gonna go wide all the way. So this is 17 millimeters. I don't typically shoot this wide, especially for this type of videography, unless I'm trying to do one or two things. If I'm trying to establish the shot, or I'm trying to get enough of something into the frame. I tend to go for the tighter, more personal, more intimate shots, when I'm doing, my filming. So this is the widest point on this particular lens, 17 millimeters. And so again, this is an APS-C camera. So APS-C, I forget the exact measurements, but it's never just that exact what the lens indicates.
It's like a 1.5 crop.
Yeah, so it's gonna have a crop. And so what that means is it's gonna punch in a little bit tighter. So on Tom's full frame here, I wish I could, his is 28 millimeters. So if we were to go as wide on his, it's pretty much, if you want to switch and show him.
No, you're good. Oh, okay. I'm like, I can't switch it. Boom.
So now on Tom's camera, this is 28 millimeters, and it's almost as wide as my 17.
Yours is almost like 30 of that.
Exactly, because my APS-C lens, even though it's 17 millimeters, is technically closer in the range of like 30, so which is pretty much almost the same amount of depth or width as Tom's camera here. So if you want to switch us back to cam 1.
Cam 1.
So next we'll go just on the lens indicator, we're going to punch in to 24 millimeters. So this is a little bit more common one I typically gravitate to use, but we're going to keep on going. I'm going to go to 35 millimeters, and this is on an APS-C camera. And so what we'll do, we're going to go through the same thing. I'm going to show you the differences on Tom's camera as well, with his being a full frame. So we're at 35 millimeters on here, so times 1.5 crop. So what,
Don't quote
closer?
me on that. I think it's 1.5.
Yeah, you're right. It's in the neighborhood, but as we see, we're starting to get a little bit tighter on our model's face, and these are more shots. If you paid any attention to how I've shoot or shot any BTS in here, these are the shots that you guys are seeing typically. You know, a little bit more close, a little bit more intimate, brings the model, you know, kind of their expressions and things like that is something that I'm always looking for. The expressions are going to tell the story, you know, not so much the outfit, the location, or anything like that. The expressions, how they look, how do they feel, are they comfortable, are they having a good time? All of that kind of stuff plays into what your finished product is going to look like. So this is 50 mil on the 1770, and we're going to punch all the way into 70. And so we have this all against our back wall. We're probably about, I'd say maybe 8 feet away from our subject, Miss Tanasia. And so what we're going to do is going to bring this back out, and we're going to put this back where we had it, about roughly 30 millimeters there. And so we're going to come over to Tom's cam, his full frame here, and we're going to pretty much do the same thing and just show you, you know, the differences, you know, between the focal lengths here. And it just will give you a better idea between full frame and APS-C. So right now we're all the way wide on his camera at 28 millimeters. We're going to punch in a little bit, and now we're at about 35 millimeters. So you see it's a little bit tighter. And this is 35 millimeters is pretty much like your standard millimeter for like filming movies, TV, and things like that. So this is a standard focal length that you see. It's closest to, I think, what they say is natural to the eye to see. So this is a standard look that you're going to see like really, really often. Again, not my personal style of shooting. I like to go a little bit tighter depending on what I'm shooting. So we're going to punch all the way in. This is what 50 millimeters looks like. And then we're going to go all the way in a big jump at 75 millimeters. So Tom and I's cameras are like extremely close. So there's almost no difference in far as the camera position goes. Yeah, roughly 6 inches, you know, away from the wall or closer to our model. But you see how much of a difference that it makes, you know, just in the focal length there. So if you can switch us back to cam 1. Let's see. And let's see here. So let me ask you this. We'll do this. What are you like looking for? Or what do you expect? And what expectations you have coming out of this?
I guess just like I don't know. I just want like it to feel natural. I want it to look like I guess I should have brought my outfit, but like it's like more street style. So I kind of want to get that feel when I look at the video. I just want it to be vibey. I don't know.
Got it.
Like
got
just
it.
the creative vibe. Like,
Got it. Okay. So you mentioned your outfit is kind of like street style. Okay. So for me, this immediately like it kind of fits in what I was, you know, looking for. So I think downtown is going to be like a great spot for us to film something like that. Then I personally would be looking for shadows and how we could play and manipulate some of those shadows. So I think we go downtown, we find some. We can maybe start along the river area, but I think you kind of go out and utilize some of the high buildings, you know, so you get some shots of you kind of walking and establishing, hey, we're downtown, it's a city, kind of urban vibe. And so you play on that, and because I think we decided we're going to film like kind of almost like high noon, like what, around 3 inches, what we said? Oh yeah, 1 and 2 ish, yeah, yeah. So it's going to be, the sun's going to be like high. So, brings me another tip that I use. And Tom put me on this one, so shout out to Tom. There's an app that you guys can download to see the exact position of the sun, see everything relating to the sun, the moon, light, how it's going to fall, and all that. Because lighting is the most important thing that comes into doing anything pertaining to video, photos, all that. And it's an app called Photo Pills. So Photo Pills has built-in like augmented reality, so it'll show you the position of the sun, where the sun will be at different times of the day. So with us going to look to play on the shadows and things like that, they're going to be on some of the buildings and things downtown. That's going to be extremely vital in shot selection and in location selection as well. So I would 1,000% add that to, you know, your list of things that you want to have before you go and you actually start filming. So, you know, you want to look for where your position is going to be on the sun, um, location, as far as it's going to offer multiple things. You're going to look for textures, and you're going to look for space that the model can kind of move and have that expression, you know, and be able to express themselves.
Just make sure you calibrate it.
Yes, yes. So Tom and I learned a very, very, very hard, valuable lesson while we were super excited out doing some filming, trying to catch the sunset and time lapses of the sunset, and I was off by like what, like 3 to 5 minutes because I didn't calibrate the app. So yeah, so it is very, very, very important to be sure that you do your calibration on that app before jumping out there thinking that you're gonna make something happen with it. So, Miss Tanasia, that's what I want to ask you. So, tell me a little bit more, like about the outfit. Like, what does it look like?
So I have like a cargo vest.
Okay.
That goes with these jeans. They're like denim Levi's, like the old like 90s style ones.
Okay.
But the inspiration for the jeans, because I did like something with some fabric on them, like this brand called Minimal. They
Okay.
have like skulls on their jeans. Like
Gotcha.
the skull print on the skeleton print on the jeans.
Okay.
So I did that with the fabric that matches the cargo vest.
Gotcha.
And then underneath, I'm just gonna wear like a black shirt. You may wear a hat. I don't know yet. And then my shoes have like a skeleton on the side of them. They're forces, but they're orange. And they have like a skeleton on the side of them that goes to the pants.
Okay. Dope.
So they're all like.
Oh yeah. So that's great. And so, like, I'm just gonna go over some different movements. You know, just wide enough to see. So first thing, just based off of like her describing the outfit that she's gonna be wearing, I would start with kind of bringing in the shoes. You know, you want to bring in the shoes. You want to showcase the pants. You want to showcase the top. So there's several different components when it comes to like filming models and doing like model videography. You know, like I said, we touched on expression. Expression is extremely important. Location is extremely important, but also what they're wearing as well. That is a huge thing for them. You know what I mean? Like the ladies spend a lot of time picking their outfits, you know, making sure it's something cute and all that good stuff. And you want to make sure that you're showcasing it the right way. So, Mr. Nage, I'm gonna have you go ahead and kick that stool out and just have you stand. Okay. And so I'm just going to kind of give some example movements. I'm going to show you just kind of how I would approach filming, you know, let's say like an establishing shot. So what I'm going to have you do, Tanasia, I'm going to have you actually start behind those lights, if you can, and then just kind of walk forward. And so basically what we would do, let me know if you're able to see this all right, Tom.
Go ahead.
Okay. And so I would have you just walk and then have you walk right into that. And so with a shot like that, and again, we're just kind of, you start low, and you can do this. This is stuff you can do handheld, or you can choose to use a gimbal. You know, for something like this, when it comes to like my tighter, more intimate shots, I personally prefer handheld, just because I can get as close as I like, I can punch in as much as I want, and I can move quick. You know, when you're on a gimbal, your movements are great, but they're slightly, exaggerated. So it's a little bit harder without having like a harsh cut or a harsh jerk to get specific movements that you're looking for. Excuse me. So for something like this, like I said, I'm gonna have to do that one more time. Man, we can. Yeah, I know, right? Got her all boxed in. All right, so basically I'm gonna have you take about 3 steps, because you should end probably about like right there. Okay? So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then you can go all the way up. And so a shot like that will do multiple things. It's gonna bring not only, you're gonna add movement and showing some of the shoes and what's going on in your shot, but then also if you shoot it right, and then you can also come down, and that'll allow you to showcase the location. Because again, like when you're filming, you want to utilize everything that's there. Think of it all like your whole, it's all your artboard, it's all your canvas, so to speak, and you can paint it and make it look like whatever you choose. So one of the things that I look for, I want to start doing more, is incorporating the location more into the shoot, meaning B-roll of the location, instead of just showing the model the entire time. show where they're at, you know, and just bring them into your image. And that has more to do with kind of telling a story, so to speak. What else am I?
So one thing I would ask, and I would want to know about is how does focal length, especially when you're talking about doing the B-roll, establishing the location, establishing the shot, how does focal length affect texture? If you're shooting on brick or you're shooting on wood, stone, it has different textures. Light hits is different, so focal length plays a huge part in how clear or unclear are you shooting. Like a big brick wall, you're shooting just a couple bricks to pull out.
Right.
To pull out the shot to establish. So like, what is your favorite focal length when you like the texture of the building is the most important part to establish Tanasia into a shot? Like, you know, because obviously you show the location, then maybe Tanasia walking in. But like, what's the focal length you choose to kind of bring out brick or wood or, you know, whatever, alleyway?
So if it's like, you know, it depends on like what the location's offering. But if it's something where I like the full view of everything, then I'm gonna go wide.
Yeah.
You know, and then I would bring her into it, you know, gradually, just so I'm able to showcase the full location. But if it's something like it's just a wall, but a lot of the other buildings are kind of ugly, then I'm gonna try to find the best angle and kind of shoot a little bit tighter. And then at that point, I will make adjustments in camera with my light settings. So like you mentioned, let's say like it's a cedar block or cinder block wall that's gonna reflect more light than say a brick wall. Then that's when I would go and either adjust my variable ND or adjust my ISO settings before I make any adjustments on my f-stop. I know also too, like punching in is gonna more so affect like the depth of field, you know, as far as like what you're able to showcase. And so that's just something I also think about as well, is what is this shot trying to say? You know, so it's more so that than anything.
That's
like,
the most important.
yeah.
Because before you get in your camera, like I think a lot of people, you can see a person's shot, you'd be like, wow, if they would have just stepped back and be like, what is this shot?
Exactly.
How does this play into my video?
Exactly.
So diving right into the camera segment probably would have turned out a little bit better. Not that it was bad.
Yeah, but just could have done more.
And it could have been here. So I think it's important to like kind of relay that.
Yeah, definitely.
How we approach that shit. We're all about details, tight shots, like real personal stuff.
Exactly. No, yeah, that's a good point. Good point. What else you got, man?
What else I got? I'm out.
What you got, Mr. Nasia?
I'm just taking this all in. I've never heard of this before.
So I'll like kind of go over and just kind of fill you in on some of the stuff we were talking about before you got here. Just composition and framing is some of the most pivotal things in doing all of this, you know, because we want to pick shots and locations that's going to make you look like the star of that shoot, you know what I mean? And so all of that depends on, you know, what you're wearing, the vibe that you're bringing, you know what I mean? All of that has to kind of play in. And so we know already you're kind of going for an urban street look. So to me, it rules out certain things, you know, certain locations. Like I wouldn't go put you in like a field. You know what I'm saying? Like that just, like it doesn't match, you know what I mean? So immediately I'm like, okay, you know, some dope train tracks over here, you know, there's dope, you know, under buildings here, there's alleys that we can go and, you know, that have like really dope vibes, there's graffiti over there, you know, all of that would look good with like kind of the street, more urban look, more urban vibe. So for you, the energy that you gotta bring is upbeat, you know what I mean? You know, you can't just be chilling, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Sure, I'll take that.
So energy is what it's all going to be about. And so another tip too that often helps, that I really recommend, bring music, bring some sort of Bluetooth speaker, you know, or something. You know, that is so vital when you're shooting, like especially like I shoot in slow motion. There's no need for the audio. Slow-mo on the Sony cameras, you can't even record audio. So you want to have something that's going to keep the energy, but you also want to pick music that matches the vibe of the finished product that you're looking for. So if we've described we're looking for something street, I'm not going to play country music. No disrespect to country music, but that does not fit the vibe. You know what I mean? So she would just be real, you know, swaying and, real chill, and that's not what we're looking for. We want something more up.
I wasn't calm because of that. I was calm because beer went down the hole.
Oh.
I play cookies together. So a good point to point out is when to use slow-mo, when not to use slow-mo. Why do you use slow-mo versus a regular speed action shot?
So I choose based on I choose whether to use or shoot in slow-mo or in regular speed. Again, just depending on what it is, like the story that I'm trying to tell. So if it's something that I want to kind of bring more drama or I want to kind of put more emphasis on, I'm going to slow that down. If it's something that I want to, like, if it's something like, for something for like this, we're going to have like a solid mix, I think, of slow motion shots mixed with regular speed shots. And the reason we're going to take that approach is it's an urban vibe, so we want it more upbeat, so we want more energy there. As you know, slow-mo is great for like if she was wearing a dress and we were going to go like in the field. And I do want to do some shots like that, but that's when I would kind of use or primarily use slow motion. Not to say we won't use a lot of slow motion when we film with hers, but if I do, I'm going to kind of speed a lot of that up in post. And like I said, the reason is the story that we're wanting to tell, we want to showcase, you know, like the vibe that, she, you know, what she's going to be wearing, and hopefully the vibe that she's going to be bringing Friday, right?
Yeah, bring it on Friday.
So, yeah, man. So does that answer the question?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything
No,
else.
I think people just use the same thing with drone shots. I think they overuse slow-mo.
Yeah,
You're
yep.
not really telling a story.
You're not.
Like, why would you choose slow-mo for a specific shot?
Right.
Obviously, if you're trying to tell a story and it's a part of the story, it's great. But I think, just like we always talk about drone shots or like
Yep.
really wide shots. Like
Yep.
she's walking in the frame.
It's
Why
not
are we
neat.
wide?
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to showcase the building and she's
Exactly.
not gonna be there.
Exactly.
Like, I just, you know.
No, that's a really good point, and it also brings me up to something else too. I would never, ever, 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 ever use a drone for this type of videography. That's just my personal opinion.
Could you see why somebody would use a drone?
I could, if it was for like a brand shoot, I could see, you know, and there's a little bit of a story that you're looking to tell. But when it comes to model videography, it's very like personal, it's very intimate. You're showcasing a location and the model. The model first, obviously, but the location plays a big part of that story. There's really no need, in my opinion, to have a drone that's going to give you such a wide aerial view, showing more than what's necessary. And then, in my opinion, the movements that drones offer are a little bit unnatural. You know, we don't see from top down, you know what I mean? And so I think, in my opinion, it just kind of takes away from that, and it's a little bit too much. I think drones are great for setting the like the location, you know, or setting the kind of like the premise of what's going on, depending on what you're filming. So like for movies, great, yeah, use drone shots, you know, to use drone footage. You know, if you're trying to have some sort of promotion about something, you know, the event was held in a specific building, yeah, use a drone shot to set up that, hey, we're in this fancy building, you know, but it's a lot different, you know, when it comes to filming with model videography. And again, that's not to say that we wouldn't use drone shots or incorporate those, but it all depends on the story that's being told. And for the story that we're going for Friday, drone footage would be like pointless in my opinion, other than just showing like, hey, we're downtown, look at the buildings, you know. And so if I were to use a drone shot, how I would incorporate it in, it would be something like that. I would start extremely high, 400 feet, which is the max you can fly, and then I would bring it directly into her. But by the time that drone came down, I would be switching her in post to, you know, one of my actual cameras, and then just take over the rest from there. But that would be my approach for that. But I highly recommend, you know, getting personal. You know, I recommend starting with what you have first and foremost, which is what Tom and I will always swear by. Don't go out and spend a shit ton of money on gear and all that crap that you don't really need, and just get out there and just experiment. But I would start just shooting handheld, because when you shoot in handheld, you're closer to your camera, you know, and you're getting more intimate with this. So you're understanding this better, and you're making it, it's easier to make your adjustments. you know, to your lighting, to your f-stop, and getting your exposure correct, because that's going to be your most important thing. You know, you want the cleanest, sharpest, best looking image that you can get going in, because you can do more with it in post as far as like manipulating it. And so that'll bring me to like another point. I'm not gonna go too much in detail as far as just the way like that I film, but I film like my settings. I film in PP1 on, this is Sony a6400. This is what we're gonna be using Friday. But I film in PP1. Cine 2 is kind of my go-to. Certain situations, you know, I may jump into S-Log or even HLG, just depending on what I'm looking for. So I may end up using HLG when we come to shoot this. The reason I may do HLG is because it's going to give you a little bit more color information, and you get a little bit more flexibility in post, but not too much. I'm not a personal fan of S-Log on the Sony cameras because the base ISO on it is 800. So as Tom and I have talked, we talked about this a lot when it comes to ISO, and I think on one of our earlier streams, what ISO does and what ISO, you know, how it affects your image and things like that. The higher your ISO, the more grain that you're introducing to your image. It increases the amount of light that comes in, but it also introduces the noise. So I like to shoot, especially outside, which is primarily the only time I'm able to go all the way down to, you know, my lowest ISO setting, which is 100 or 125 on A64, and it's a sharper, cleaner image, and then I'm able to do a little bit more manipulation in post. And when I say manipulation, I mean as far as your color grading, your effects and things like that. So all of that plays into, you know, the story that you're looking to tell, or that you want to tell or convey, you know, with that final product. So as we've been talking with Miss Nasia about what we're going to be filming this Friday, you know, colors would be kind of like the third thing I would be thinking about as well, you know, and just kind of taking in consideration, like, okay, what do I want this to look like as far as colors go? Do I want to go with more natural, cool tones, or we're going to be shooting during the day, so it's going to be more like warm tones. It's going to be really bright out. So do I want to keep that kind of natural, sunny vibe or feel, or do I want to kind of manipulate some of those colors and make it a little bit more urban and street to kind of match the vibe that she's going with, you know? And you can get creative as you want when it comes to the post and the editing, as long as what you bring to the editor, or, you know, what you bring to your computer to edit, is clean, sharp, and great. You know, exposure, lighting is the most important thing. Making sure that it's not overexposed and it's not underexposed. You're just having that kind of that balance right in the middle. That's pivotal, man. It's the most important thing.
We're definitely going to talk more about that on Thursday, too.
Sweet. So,
Exposure triangle.
dope. So Tom is, I would be the first to tell you, like, I learned a lot of my exposure. I would say like 90% of my exposure from this guy. Like, this dude's the GOAT when it comes to this. And so I didn't realize how important light was to the camera and to your camera sensor, and to getting a really, really clean, great image, until working with Tom more and really shooting a lot of the BTS and just watching how he shoots and does that. So stay tuned, because you guys are going to learn like a lot from Thursday, you know, when Tom goes in. You're gonna be like a pro. I promise, man. You're going to be like Peter McKinnon out here once Tom get a hold of it.
Except for not Canadian. Well,
Except for not Canadian.
You might be, I don't know.
But yeah, man. I think that is I think that was pretty much all that I had for our first half of this. Because I know Miss Tanasia, she was so nice to come and join us today, and just kind of chill. And
I've been staying here for like 30 minutes.
yeah, I know. But I know she has to. She gotta cut out of here to get to some training. What you getting your swole on, man?
Something like that.
Okay. I hear that, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, you got any questions for me?
No, so far. I mean, I'm just learning. Just listening.
Sweet.
Everything will go smooth. I'm excited, so.
Me too, man. So, kind of based off of what you heard so far, what do you feel like is something that you plan to do? You know, maybe that you weren't thinking about before, that you may do different, if anything.
I don't know. I think, like, I kind of was vibe that I didn't have yet.
Got it.
So now that I kind of know more of like your ideas of like where we are going, I think, I mean, I guess it's not really a question, but I feel better about what I chose to wear. So,
Got it.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know what I could do different. The outfit is there.
No, cool.
Then I think it'll go really great with what you discussed. So yeah.
Cool, man. So do you far as well, yeah, I'll touch on this. This is something that I've here recently learned, you know, like is really, really important. Is just being able to communicate with your models and whoever that is that you're working with, you know, your ideas. That's like really, really important. I know I've had issues in the past where it's like, man, I want to work with this person, but I don't know what I want to do, you know, and so it makes it hard when you're trying to approach someone and you're like, hey, I want to film you, but you have no idea or concept, you know, that or what you want to do or examples of your work. So now my approach is like, if I see someone like, hey, I want to work with you, I show them past work, like I want to do this or something similar to this, you know, with you. Or if I have an idea or a concept, I first will try to find something that's similar to what I'm looking to film, and then I'll base it around that, and then I will send that over and say, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z with you, you know, and we kind of build it and kind of go from there. But I always try to start with like, okay, I know where I want to film first, and I'll let the model know, hey, I want to film with you. These are the locations that we're going to be looking at, or these are the locations that we're going to be filming, and this is kind of a general concept of what we're looking to film. And so that helps with several things. For one, it helps the model feel that you're more confident in you. Like, oh, okay, this guy actually knows what they're doing. They have a plan, and I've seen their work. So it's like, great. Oh, okay, so we're going to speed things up because, like I said, we forgot to bring the charger for the laptop, and Tom just showed to me that we have 14%. So we have a couple other things that we wanted to talk about before we did close this stream out, such as really, really dope stuff. So if Mr. Nasia, if you don't have anything else, I will let you get on out of here because I know you got some stuff you got to do, and I will see you Friday. I am going to reach out to you Friday tomorrow because there's a couple, I have some shirts I wanted to see if you didn't mind them for me.
Yeah.
Okay? So appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been a pleasure, and I will. Yeah, man.
One day you'll come back.
Cool, man. Appreciate
I
it.
never mind. I know last time I was all like, but that's just, you know.
Them jitters, them
time
jitters.
energy.
Yeah.
I'm like an outgoing introvert, so.
All right, bro. Can you do me a favor? Go ahead and pull up the trailer, man. We'll run the trailer real quick, and then we'll talk about the 48-hour film fest, and
I turned the brightness so far down. So
oh, you get.
like, oh God.
So I'm gonna warn you guys now. If the stream just gets interrupted, we'll apologize. Like I said, I'll step back here.
All right, y'all enjoy. I mean,
safe.
have fun.
All right, so Nays, it's good seeing y'all. See you Friday. All right.
Friday. Bye-bye.
See you.
Going back live scene, pulling up trailer.
All right, sweet.
What do you have that under? Window capture?
Yeah. And so if the stream gets interrupted, guys, I apologize. That'll be the end of it for tonight. But it is probably going to end rather abruptly tonight. But I mean, it's a pretty good stream so far. I think we covered a decent amount. I do want us to be able to close out the way I had planned for us to close out. We're talking about some of the exciting stuff that we do have coming up, though. So let's hope this all works out. We're like fighting against the battery now at this point.
I'm trying.
It's all good, bro.
It says QuickTime Player. But
Yeah.
It still says the only thing that's on QuickTime Player is
The other one.
Yep. See where it says that. So like QuickTime Player is playing this.
That's odd.
See, it's not playing shit. Getting audio though. We're gonna fix it real quick.
Bear with us, y'all. Bear with us. We're making it happen. So while we're doing that, man, we recently over the weekend, we did a really, really dope thing. Tom and I had the chance to get out and partake in our first film festival, first of the year, first ever, but definitely the first of the year because we want to get into more of these. And it was the 48-hour film festival that was put on by the Russo brothers, and it was a ton of fun. You know, we had one of the young ladies that we had the chance to work with on another film that we're gonna be showing you here hopefully in a second. Just to
cut to it 'cause
yeah, okay, cool. We're gonna go ahead and cut into and show you guys the trailer for our upcoming film, Studio 127. It's gonna be dropping May 8th on this live stream in this studio. You're gonna see it here first. So here's the trailer. Without any further ado, Tom, go ahead and run that beautiful beam footage.
done.
Sweet.
Forever. Now.
All right, and we are back. You guys just witnessed first, well, not first, because we've been playing this for a little bit. It's been all over the streams, and we got like a lot of views on this baby. But you have witnessed this Tom and I's handiwork for the new trailer for the new short film that we going to be dropping May 8th. This May 8th, 2021. You guys are going to be able to you guys are going to be able to witness it live with us here, the actual release of the film. We're going to be holding a live stream here, just kind of like how we do our normal live streams, except we're going to have the full cast. So we're going to have the janitor, we're going to have the murderer, and we're going to have the young lady getting murdered, all here in studio with Tom and I. And we're going to talk about this new film that we just filmed. So, yeah, man, so it's a lot of exciting stuff. We're super excited about this film. And our opinion, it's probably one of the best ones that we've had the chance to do, aside from the one we just did with the
So this week.
Whoo, that one, buddy, man. We can't wait to show you guys that. So we'll tell you, like, they're going to make an announcement of some sort on the 7th.
On the same day we're doing the stream.
Day before. We're doing it on the 8th. Stream on 8th, yeah. So we're going to find out, you know, the status of that. Like, I don't even know. We probably shouldn't even talk about, like, the concept. But the whole concept of the 48-hour film festival was to write a film, direct a film, edit a film, produce it, all of that within 48 hours of receiving a prompt. So we received that prompt far later than we were expecting to Friday. Like, Tom and I arrived here like early Friday and we're super hype about getting this prompt, and it ain't come till almost 11. So at 11 o'clock we got that prompt and we talked about our idea, and it kind of went into, you know, from there. But it came out extremely dope. We had a lot of fun filming it, and that was, in our opinion, we probably say is probably like the best one that we've done. Yeah, just because it was completely unplanned. It was just kind of heat of the moment, but we changed up a few things. Like, we learned a lot from filming 127, you know, and just we knew things that we wanted to adjust, and we made those adjustments. I think for me was was my favorite thing about it, you know, just seeing the adjustments that needed to be made and making them. So that's the thing, man. So I'll close out with this, just kind of as a PSA for spare time footage and working with us, whether it's for the photography or it's for videography services. We're always learning stuff. We're always trying new things, and we're always pushing our personal limits. So we expect people that work with us to expect that. You know, and we want to make sure that we're giving the best service, and we're not just giving you the same monotonous stuff that you see out there day after day after day after day. You know, we want to give you something new. We want to give you guys constant things that we're learning. You know what I mean? And we're always learning something. You know, both Tom and I try to be open books, try to be really open-minded, and you know, there's never a day that he doesn't have a camera in his hand and I don't have one in mine, trying something new that we've learned or we've read about or saw on YouTube. And so that's what you get with us, man. You're going to always get new things. And so if you stay tuned to a lot of the things that we're rolling out this year, it's going to be an exciting year. for people that have been rocking and been on this long journey with spare time footage. So that's pretty much all I got. For the sake of battery time, we're gonna cut this short. Wanted to bring Tom up here so y'all can see, you know, that long, luscious beard he's got going. Come on, y'all know you put the NASCARs on. Oh, look at him.
I just feel faster every time I put them on. I feel faster.
Oh, you ain't first, you last, baby.
Thank God I don't have two first names. I kind of do.
Oh, man. But yeah, man. So we're excited about, you know, some of the stuff that we got coming up, man.
For
So
sure.
it's gonna be a good year, great summer. So you
Summer
got
will be
anything?
huge.
Woo!
We can't even talk about it, but
Y'all in for some treats, man. It's gonna be a good year. Good year, man.
no, but you said everything I wanted to say. Just talking about 48 hour and how we killed something in 48 hours. Got like 7 hours of sleep. Felt like
Woo!
I'm still hurting from that.
Man, you ain't the only one, bro. I was so tired today, man. It's been a long one. But appreciate you guys. To the next one. Something happened. You know, he's sitting there looking awkward.